Hey, welcome. We're going to work on a little Nissan, 1995 Nissan pickup truck. Just show you what we got here. Well, here's my little Nissan. Some of you may be familiar with it. I've got other videos where I've done different things. What we're going to do here, it's got the front main seal leaking a little bit, and you have to take the timing chain cover off. So I got a new water pump, a new oil pump, new gears, new chain, a new tensor in here, and the seals. And of course we'll have to have a valve cover, gasket, change oil, filter. Here's some gasket stuff that actually goes over there with that. And of course new coolant. And I'll show you what we've got underneath here. You can see a little bit of oil there. It dripped just to right there. I don't know whether you can see too good or not, but it's leaking just a little there at this pulley here where all the belts are on the crankshaft. And of course it runs all back through there, you know, when you're driving and all. That's what we got. But I reckon the only way you can fix that is to we got to take the radiator off, the fan belts, all the pulleys, of course this breather, the valve cover gasket, oil pump, the hoses, drain the radiator, drain the oil. Pretty big job, but it's leaking. Don't like it, so we just got to fix it. All right. I'm going to do this a little different. Instead of you watching me take every bolt and screw loose, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to do and then take it loose. And if there was any problem or anything, I'm just going to tell you about it, because I know some of the others have put videos on here of doing this, and it would take an hour or more, and they're showing you take all the bolts loose and everything. Unless there's a problem with the bolt, I don't think there's no point in doing all that. But anyway, we'll get started. First thing I'm going to do is get the coolant out of the radiator and take the radiator loose here and here, and I'll probably pull one of the hoses off on the bottom and get that coolant out as quick as I can. All right, get started. Got the breather off. Just take those those wing nuts off the top, and there's a hose on the back. If you just pull on it, lift it up, pull it out, it'll come out of that hose. A little tight, but it comes out. This hose here, right here. And the next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the ground off the battery, just for safety. Take that off. Okay, took the ground off the battery with a 10mm socket. Stuck a rag in the carburetor or in fuel injector on this car. safety. Okay, I just took the fan cover off. There's just two Phillips head screws here up the top, and it just lifts out. And took this top radiator hose off here and just kind of pushed it up out of the way, and this little overflow pipe took off, and it just lifted straight out. Now let's see if we can get the radiator out. Okay, I got the radiator draining. You got that little plastic twist off. A little hard to twist off. You can't hardly get, it's too tight for your hands. So I had to take this wrench and those pliers to get it out, enough to where it'll run out. And I still got to get this hose off down at the bottom once I get that drained out. Okay, this bottom hose, I couldn't get to it to loosen it at all because it was turned down. So I took the radiator loose and lifted it up here. You may not have that problem. I tried to take it off at the top clamp, but it wouldn't come off. So I just lifted the whole radiator out and just kind of propped it up there and see if I can get that off. Okay, that was pretty easy to get out. There's my hose. Got that clamp off easy by just lifting the radiator up. See those, that big old hole there? There's two of them. The radiator just sits in them, so it's not really fastened at the bottom. It's just sitting in there. It's setting up. It's bolted on at the top at these holes here. 10 millimeter. That's all I've used so far. 10 millimeter. 10 millimeter to take everything loose so far. Okay, and here's the radiator, and there's those things that fit in the bottom. They just sit in there. And here's the drain plug. There's the bolts, 10 millimeter, and the drain plug. Got the fan off. I just put that on there new not long ago. Came off of eBay. Just for 10 millimeters, holding it on. Got it over here with the other stuff. There's my 10 millimeters that held it on. Now we can kind of get to stuff a little bit more here. Okay. I guess we'll looks like we'll have to take loosen up these belts, get them off. We'll see. Okay, I've loosened the alternator, slid it back, easier enough, and I took the belts off. They were all pretty easy. The air conditioner, if you can see there, I had to take the pulley off to get the belt off. I didn't really see no way to loosen the air conditioner and slide it, pump and move it back. I probably wouldn't have had to, but I marked the fan belts 1, 2, and 3, starting with the one closest to me. And there was the air conditioner pulley. I kept all the washers and all in order so I wouldn't mix them up. The belt come off pretty easy. I got my air ratchet hooked up, and I guess I'll try to loosen loosen these and get this pulley assembled, which wraps around. See if I can get it off. I took these two brackets off here. There's two nuts here and a bolt back there. Here they are here. We've got this wire that's mounted to this bracket that goes down to the distributor here. I'll figure that out and get that unhooked and out of the way. Those wouldn't bad with an air ratchet. It was a let's see here. What size that was? It's probably a 10. No, it was a 12. It was a 12. Took a 12 to get them off. Probably been a knuckle buster with a wrench, but I'm sure if you got a longer enough handle, you could get it off all right. Okay, I took the four 10mm nuts and lock washers. Watch those lock washers. You know, they fall off. You need them on there because this is the fan clutch. But loosen them off. Got this fan clutch off and out of the way. Okay, the pulley behind the fan clutch just slips off, and then there's the water pump. Lay this down here next to the, I'm keeping everything together, of course. Okay, I took the hose going to the bottom of the radiator off, and there's the hole for the thermostat. Over here is the hose with the thermostat still sticking in it. And here, there's a hole in this power steering where you can line it up to get the bolts out to take the power steering pump off. I was wrong there where I was pointing where to go. The three here go here, and you access them through these holes in the pulley, and the oddball one goes here in the side, and the two shorter ones go here. The longer one, I believe that is the long one. No, it's the same, but I remember that this one came out of here, and this one came out of here, and the other one came out of the top here. So there was one of them longer than the other one though. This top one looks the same as these. Let's take this top one out and see if it's longer. No, I guess it's the same size. I thought one of them was longer. I must have just been looking at it wrong. I believe they're all the same size. So forget that. But anyway, that's where they go, and the access is through this hole. These holes in the pulley. Well, I got the power steering pump off, and I put the screws in it because there is one long one that goes in from the back on the bottom. It's longer than the rest of them. Okay. Looks like we got to get the alternator off I don't believe the air conditioner pump has to be removed. I hope not. So it looks like this has got to come off. And I believe there's a hose behind it that has to come off. Okay, I got the alternator bungee corded up so I didn't have to unhook any of the wires. There's the bracket. There's a long bolt goes through there with some washers on the end. I left the adjustment bracket on it just to fasten it up. And there's the long bolt goes at the bottom of the alternator. Got those washers on it. Okay, I don't know if I need to take that bracket off or not. It doesn't look like it's on the plate, so I'm going to wait about the alternator bracket just to see. But I do need to take this off, and that little hose back there, I believe. Well, I got the oil filter on and got the oil drained. Kind of cleaned my hands and all up a little bit, and I guess I'll take a break. I have been working since 2 o'clock, and it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've been working 5 hours. So that just gives you some idea, and I didn't really have any difficulty. It was just straightforward. So there's 5 hours, and I still got to take the crankshaft pulley off, and then I've got to get it set to top dead center and get the oil pump cam set before I take the cover off, and then I got to put it all together. So I'm saying this thing's going to be well over probably a 10-hour job. I noticed nobody on YouTube actually told how long it took, and like I said, so far I haven't had any major slowdown. Okay, well, I'm going to the parts store probably don't open. I don't know what time they open, but I think I'll take a break. Be back with you. Glad I had to make 2 trips to the parts store. Winds up, this is a 27 millimeter that fits this Nissan truck. Somebody told me a 23, and nobody on the internet even tells you what it is. There's a lot of stuff they skip on YouTube when they show you how to do this. This socket's for to get this bolt off here. You know, I've noticed a lot of them showing you how to do this. They skip, you can see the video stop, they skip a lot of this because they probably had a hard time doing it. But anyway, you'll need a 27, at least for this 95 Nissan pickup truck. It fits it. Okay, I've got the wheel puller on here, pulley puller. I'm going to try it this way. Sometimes you have to try it different ways to get it off without damaging your pulleys. Just before this I didn't get to film it, but I took that new socket I bought and put it on a long pry bar, and I wedged it up under these hoses here against the body of the truck, and I went inside and just bumped the starter a little bit and loosened it right up. that thing's under about 100 pounds torque, and the engine turns if you try to turn it. That's about the only way you can get it broke loose that I know of. Okay, we'll move on from here. Okay, we're trying to get it in time here. See that little slot? It's pointing straight up. .12 and then I got my screwdriver. I can feel the piston through that #1 plug. With the screwdriver I can feel the top of the piston. And down on the crankshaft, let's see if you can see the pin. If I can get it just right, where you can see the pin. It's there. It's straight up. I don't know whether you can see that or not, but anyway, the pin there needs to be straight up. Piston needs to be all the way up, and that slot up here needs to be straight up. Okay, I took the distributor cap off and I put a mark there where the distributor cap is. The other end is pointing at #1 plug, and I put a mark here where the screw is in the back, so I can have that in time. Well, let's see if I've got it marked there where the slot is for the distributor. See if I can get a flashlight down in there, let you see. You can see I got that half moon where the slot is, and then two lines there show where it's supposed to be when you put the fuel pump back in. Okay, so we got this key straight up, and the one on the bottom straight up. I also made a little mark here inside of this too, and if you can see it down there, I took a chisel and made a little mark down there too, trying to keep it in time. Okay, next thing we're going to get the oil pump out. It's down here. Okay, there we are. It looks like to me there's 3 bolts you got to take off the oil pan under there. I'm hoping I don't have to take that oil pan off. But there's where we're at now. Got everything marked, top dead center. So if I can get this cover off, get that seal broke. But I'll tell you one thing, these other guys that put how to change this and all on there, they're not being truthful to you. You cannot do this. This is a 8 to 10 hour job. I worked 5 hours straight, and then I had to go get that socket. But I've worked 8 hours straight on it, and you see I still don't even have the cover off here. So they're doing a lot, stopping the camera and doing a lot of work that you don't see on camera. Okay, we'll get on there and get that other screw loose, see if I can get this cover off. Hey, I got it off, but it wasn't easy. I had just put a new oil pan gasket on there, and I had to take the oil pan down But the main problem of getting it off is there was a bolt here at the top hid. That was the problem. It might have come off, but it still would have probably been hard. But I had this bolt right here holding this side, and you couldn't see it. It was up under there. It's right underneath this opening here. You could not see it, and I thought it was the glue and everything else, but that was the main problem. So this is about 9 hours of work, and I'm just down now to the point to start putting new stuff on it. And this has took me from 2 o'clock in the morning to 15 after 4. So I got to clean all this stuff up, replace all the seals and gaskets. Oh, so I can see another full day of this. This was all that was wrong, really. It was this seal right here, just this seal here, that was leaking. But you got to take all this apart. There's all the screws. There's 3, 4, 5 big ones, 2 like this, and 4 small ones. And one of them small ones messed me up. And you know, these are different sizes. You didn't even know for sure whether they were holding it down, but they were. So anyway, if you're looking at some of these other videos, there's a whole lot more to it than they're showing you. Well, I'm going to wind it down for today and clean up, rest, and try to get back at it tomorrow. I got the new seal in, got the water pump on, kind of cleaned around where all the gaskets go. I think I'm just going to leave this alone because it's been changed recently. There's nothing wrong with the chain or the guides, and I just put a new tensor in it not long ago, and the one I put in there I believe is better than what came with this. So I'm just going to clean this up and put it back on because I don't want to mess with the timing. It starts real good and everything. And another thing, I don't have the socket to undo this up here, but this is all good and tight. The leak was the only problem I had, and it was this main seal. But I noticed some of the other seals, somebody just halfway put them in there. They were bent. That one there, I don't even think it was even half in there. So I'm going to replace the seals and all, and I've done, like I said, I've got nearly 10 hours in this, and I don't see no need in messing with that when there's nothing wrong with it. Okay, I got the bottom pulley back on, water pump's on, put the oil pan back on, and I've got to put the oil pan back on, excuse me. Oil pump I hadn't put on yet. I've got to get somebody to help me hold the rotor there on that mark while I get it in the slot from underneath. And here's the oil pump. You got to get that, it's a notched slot up on that end and a little gear, and you have to get that in the distributor to keep it in time. But anyway, I'm gonna take a break for a while. Get back with you. Okay, we're back. I had to take a break for a while. Let's give out. Anyway, we got that bottom pulley on. It says the torque kit about 90 pounds. I just took a impact wrench and beat it with it 4 or 5 times. I've got the motor back in top dead center. See the little notches in the pointer there, and you have to get this little notch straight up, and that in there. All that has to be done before you put the new oil pump in, because you got to feed all of this up in there and hit that distributor just right. You see that half moon? It has to hit the other half moon in the distributor, and you need to prime this with oil so it's not a dry start. This is aggravating here. I'm gonna have to get my son to help me with that. But I get that back in there. I had already put the valve cover on, had to take it off, but I didn't notice that I had moved it off of top dead center, so I had to take that back off. Okay, and if I can remember where these parts go over here, if I see anything comes up that I think I need to video, I'll add it to this. But I need to try to get through with this. We need to shop here for something else. So I'm going to end it here, unless something pops up, and I'll add it to it, because the rest of it is just putting the belts and all, and little mounts and all, and bolts back in place, and water hose. But I tell you, this is not an easy job. The ones that have put stuff on YouTube left out a lot of work. Now around here they want about $1,500 to $2,000 to do this, and from a work standpoint, it's probably worth it. But you know, when you got an old truck like this, you know, you can't put that kind of money in it. And if you've got time to do it. But appreciate you watching. Please subscribe to my channel. I don't make anything off of this. YouTube, you have to have 1,000 subscribers before you get $10. So, you know, that's the reason everybody's begging for subscribers. Back at one time, all you had to have was 100, but it takes a long time to get 1,000 subscribers. But anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe and like. Catch you the next time. Hey, I got the oil pump on. Right down there. And I found a whole lot easier way than the other people here on YouTube showed to do it. I went ahead and put oil in it, you know, so it wouldn't be a dry pump. And I went ahead and pushed it in the shaft up in there. Of course, I had marked up here at the distributor the way it was turned, but I went ahead and put it up there and bolted it up, and then looked down in there and made sure the shaft was turned the way I had it marked, you know, back when I marked it. And I turned the shaft that direction, and I held the rotor on number 1 cylinder, spark plug wire, slid that damn thing right in there. And of course I had the timing set down here on that pin. Had it at top dead center. And easy as a pie. My son came over to help me because it sounded like it was such a job. That was one of the easiest things I'd done. The hardest thing was getting this timing chain cover off. And like I said before, the reason I had a hard time is there was a bolt right up under here, and it was covered in crud, and that was what was keeping me from getting it off. But anyway, I'm going to got the valve cover back on. I'm going to go ahead and put all these other pieces back. But I thought I'd share that with you on that oil pump, because everybody else on YouTube acts like it's so hard to do. Okay. Hey, I'm back. I've got everything put back, the belts and everything. The only trouble I had with this is the power steering pump. I kind of forgot where the bracket went, and I had to kind of put everything else together and then figure it out. And you got to remember that the bolts are inside these holes to get to take the power steering pump off. Got the radiator back in. The only thing I like is putting the breather back on and putting oil in it and coolant in it. And I'm going to take a break and come back and do that later. Hope it starts. It should. It's in time. This has been a long job. Of course, I've done it all by myself, except for my son who helped me just a little bit to get this distributor, back. But I lost count. I know it's 12 hours, and I'm not completely through yet. That's all by myself. Okay, I'll get back with you in a little bit. Well, there she is, purring like a kitten. Of course, when I first started it up, it took about 5 seconds for the oil light to go out, and then the valves clattered. But that's just because it had sat here with no oil in it, valve cover off and all. Sounds good now. Now if it just don't leak, be fine. Thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe. Bye.